on Instagram. I don't even know how to log into my Twitch account, and yet we're streaming there. So we're all over the world today because here's the primary motivation. You know my mission and my purpose is to find the best people of this world with the best hearts and help them become crazy wealthy. That is my mission. That is my purpose. And I do that through teaching you how to get on stage and deliver your story powerfully. So with that, let's start sharing all the wins that you have. I'm going to have Richard helping me moderate tonight. He's going to watch that chat. So throw your wins in the chat, personal or professional, because like my interview with Chad Brown, every win is part of your experience, meaning you get to have your family and you get to have your business and you get to have your children and you get to have your vacations and you get to have everything in your life that you love to do. And it's not or, it's and. Okay, so Heather, I see some chats coming in. What do we got coming in as far as wins? I want to hear about your stages that you won. I want to hear about your personal wins. I want to hear about the clients that you signed up, the revenue goals that you're achieving. Tell me what's coming through, babe.
Heather Nielsen says, my event last Saturday was amazing.
Heather had an event last Saturday. Congratulations, Heather. I love hearing that. I want to hear more details, so throw this in the chat. How many people were there? Tell me what made it amazing. Awesome. So as you have those wins, I can see some people typing. So as those pop in through the chat, we're going to be announcing those as they come through. So tonight, as many of you know, we're going to be talking about the back end business of your speaker journey. So as we see those wins come through, we'll share those verbally. I want everyone to hear everyone else's wins. But Richard, would you mind throwing up for everyone to see the speaker journey chart? If you guys haven't seen the speaker journey, the 11-step guide, I'm going to throw it up on the screen, or that's a lie. Richard's going to throw it up on the screen for us. And I want you to take a screen capture of it, because here's the thing. This speaker journey, you might actually have several different steps and they might be in the wrong order, or you might be getting on a bunch of stages, but they're not monetizing. So take a screen grab of this. This is the 11-step speaker journey. We've got step number 1 of defining your expertise, which a lot of people, they get stuck on that, especially people that are very experienced in a lot of different arenas. They're like, I'm good at this, and I'm good at this, and I'm good at this, and I'm good at this. You've got to decide what you want to become known for. All right. So for example, I'm the Millionaire Speaker Trainer. Even though I love to homestead and I love to farm and I love to raise 6 kids and I love to do I love to fly airplanes, all of these things, I'm the Millionaire Speaker Trainer. That's what I do. That's what I'm known for. And then we've got your signature presentation. This is the original blueprint. You've got to write it down before you take the stage and start practicing it. Then step 3 is creating your ebook, or another kind of a tripwire. This is what you use to turn your audience into leads, because those leads then become your buyers. Once you have all 3 of those, now you're ready to take the stage. And as you know, there are 4 different types of stages. There's your physical stage for events that you put on, your digital stage for events that you put on digitally, like a Zoom call or something like this, or maybe a live on Instagram. And then there's other people's digital stages, which is like a podcast that somebody else does, like Sean had me on his podcast yesterday. And then there's other people's physical stages that you can be on. And then after you take the stage, now step 5, Richard, if you can throw that back up for me. Step 5, are we on step 5? I'm like handicapped without this in front of me. Okay, step 5 is to sell. That's what I thought. Okay, after you take the stage, now you need to convert that audience and create revenue for your business, which, by the way, this speaker journey you can do without investing any dollars into your business, but I recommend investing dollars into your business. And Sean and I are going to talk partially about that tonight. Then step 6, fulfillment. Deliver what you promised to your people. Now, if you're selling one-on-one coaching, it's really easy to fulfill on that. If you're selling courses or books, make sure the shipping is in order. Make sure the email delivery is in order. Then step 7, now is when you flesh out your value ladder. And here's why. You don't know what you should build until you know your audience well enough to build it. Don't make the mistake I did of building a course that nobody wants. All right. Step number 8 is scale. Do more of what's working. Get on more stages, do more fulfillment, faster fulfillment. You want to grow what's working. And then step 9 is introduce automation. Now, there's a lot of free tools out there for whatever you're automating, but here's what to automate first. Whatever activity is the lowest dollar revenue for you. For example, one-on-ones might be a really high revenue generating, but delivering books through email might be a really low revenue generating activity. So take the most expensive thing you do every hour, automate that first. Number 10 is know your numbers. I want to know how many people show up to your events. What's your show rate? What's your conversion rate? What's your closing rate? What's your average dollar value per client? And then number 11, you're going to patch the holes at your weakest point. Everything that you're doing, whatever you suck at the most, do that better, and you're going to recycle back through step 3 and go through the entire speaker journey again and just get better and better, bigger and bigger, and more fabulous. Okay, Richard, I saw a bunch of other wins come through the chat. Can you read those to me so we can acknowledge our amazing people?
Yeah, so Alton shared that he PR'd every exercise in a 2-hour workout yesterday and went to failure.
And he's still vertical. Congratulations, bro. He's like, maybe I'm sitting down.
He has a couple. He also convinced a well-known name in the world he works with to fundamentally change an organizational strategy while generating 7 figures of organizations for him the same week.
Awesome.
Okay.
Creating influence. There's a wonderful book, by the way, How to Lead When You're Not in Charge. It sounds like Alton is using principles from this book. It's a great book for anyone in any organization. It's called How to Lead When You're Not in Charge. Check it out. Okay, what was the other ones?
Tasha and Alton are celebrating 9 years together
Is
as
it
an
your anniversary?
anniversary.
Okay, I knew that this morning, but I can't remember it was the same day today. Happy anniversary, and we get to share it with you. How cool is that? What else we got? I see
and
them
then
coming in.
Sabrina says, my personal win is speaking for the first time at an event last month and surviving it.
You did it, Sabrina! You conquered the biggest fear in the world, public speaking. Way to go. Nice work. Congratulations, girl.
Liz says, bent my knee to 116.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, Liz had knee surgery, like 3 weeks ago? And she's got that knee bent to 116 degrees now. That's awesome. How are you feeling, girl? Thumbs up all around?
I'm actually doing pretty good, so I feel very blessed.
Oh, we are blessed to have you. By the way, for those of you that haven't met Liz yet, she runs an incredible event. It's called Be Healthy Utah. You guys should check that out. She hosts so many wonderful booths and so many wonderful conventions. You guys want to connect with her offline. By the way, this is a chance for you to connect with and meet people. I don't believe in competition. It just doesn't exist. I believe in collaboration. So in the chat, introduce yourself, say what your specialty is, share where you're from, and find other people that you can do business with. And I've got something really cool coming up for you at the end of this call as well. What else do we have in the wings? I saw a couple more pop through.
And then Christy, lastly, says we have 2 podcasts scheduled this week for Power Within, and our teen event is on Saturday.
Yes, I think that's right over at Tax Hive, isn't it, Sean?
It is. It
Rock
sure is.
on. Awesome, Christy. Guys, if you have teens, you want to get them in the room with Christy and Daphne and Jen, incredible mentors in this space. Well, friends, it is time. It is time for me to reveal my secret weapon in business. Now, I met Sean Finnegan through a mutual friend, Debbie Hart, who is an incredible woman. And when I met Sean, immediately I was struck with this level of generosity. This human being is someone who will speak amazing things about you in rooms that you're not in. He's full of authenticity, and he's here to help other people succeed. So friends, will you please put your hands together wherever you're at? Welcome Sean Finnegan to the call.
Thank you.
Sean, thank you for being here today, man. Guys, you don't know this,
it's an honor.
I convinced Sean like an hour ago to jump on the call.
Anytime. I love this stuff.
Oh, man. So Sean had me on his podcast yesterday, and we talked, hey, what's up, Liz's husband? We talked about some pretty cool stuff in regards to business, and there were a lot of the back-end things that don't often get talked about. As far as, when you're starting your business as an entrepreneur, especially as a speaker or a stand-up comedian like Ying, there's a lot of things that you're hell-bent on doing to increase your revenue, which is a worthy pursuit. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things. What I am saying is you want to preserve 2 things, especially in the pursuit of revenue. 1, your time. I want you to preserve your time. This is your most valuable resource, and it is the world's greatest equalizer. Sean has 24 hours in a day. I have 24 hours in a day. Alton has 24 hours in a day. The poorest man in the gutter has 24 hours in a day, and the richest man in Utah has 24 hours in a day. Alton's right. There's nothing more valuable than time. And I want you to get that protected and preserved. Now, that's done through a lot of maximization strategies and hiring other people, which we'll get to later. But I also want you to learn how to preserve the dollars that come in. Now, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but back in the, foundations of this country, there was a big war and a Boston Tea Party based on a 4% tax.
That's
9
pretty
or 4?
close. I want to say it was 9,
Single
but it's
digit.
single digits.
Guys,
Yes.
it was a single digit tax. Do you know what the tax bracket is now? It's disgustingly high. It's different for different people, but it is disgustingly high. And I don't know about you, but my favorite business partner is not the IRS. I have much, much better business partners in mind that I want to cut checks to instead of stroking 5- and 6-figure checks to the IRS. How many of you agree with me? Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about the strategy behind the scenes on that. Sean, I've given you a cursory introduction, but share with everybody your specialty and what you do.
Thank you so much. And it's an honor to be with all of you. I love to hear the wins too. And I think it's a rare person that would take time out of their schedule to level up their game. And I love people who do that, because there's so many people that have an invitation but just don't take it. And there's that very few percentage of like, I'm going to take this opportunity to engage with Marianne and the team and make connections and level up my game. And I really respect all of you for that. And secondly, Marianne, I consume all of your content. As you know, you put out tons of great content. I really appreciate it. Maybe I can give you just a little bit of background, and I can talk about like the business side, a little bit of the business side of events in my early career of what I experienced in kind of building stages.
Absolutely.
Is that cool?
Absolutely. And friends, as you have questions for Sean, throw them in the chat. We're going to be doing a Q&A at the end, so don't hesitate. Just throw them in, and Richard will keep track of this for you. So Sean, take it away. Tell us about the origin.
Okay, so I'll give you just a little bit of background, and then we'll talk about what I'm doing now. And so this is my early, so going way back, pajamas as a little kid back, okay? One of my heroes was a quarterback by the name of Terry Bradshaw. And if you learn anything about Terry Bradshaw, he overcame so much and had so much success. So I loved wearing his Terry Bradshaw pajamas as a kid, right? So fast forward years later, and I'm a younger entrepreneur, and I'm working for an asset protection lawyer. And we're sitting in a meeting, and we were coming up with, we have this incredible estate planning package. How do we get it out to more people? Because at the time we were kind of doing one-on-one, kind of the networking kind of things. And we're like, how do we take this to the masses more? And we came up with the idea of creating our own stage for asset protection. And we said, why don't we find a celebrity who we can market that brand to, and we can provide an incredible experience for people and market this live event and sell behind this person, sell our estate planning package. And so as we were debating, we made a list of potential celebrities that we could promote at this live event. And we wanted to do a 10-city tour. And at the top of my list was, guess who? Terry Bradshaw, right? I was like, how about Terry Bradshaw? At the time, he's going into movies. And he was making a transition from just sports to more of a celebrity generally. Like, he would be an incredible brand to promote. And so everyone agreed. They're like, why don't we go present to Terry Bradshaw and ask him if he'll do 10 stages across the U.S. and get him on stage. And then we'll send our estate planning lawyer up behind Terry and offer our package and sell to that group, right? So that was the concept. So they said, hey, Sean, since you are so passionate about Terry Bradshaw, why don't you fly to Pittsburgh, figure out how to go pitch him, find him first of all, and then go pitch him this idea.
Oh, wait. I got to pause you right here. So this is just the recipe of gumption right now. Okay, so you don't, at this point, you don't have any connections with Terry Bradshaw. You're just like, no. I grew up wearing pajamas with his face on it.
Right. Yeah.
I guess I'm going to fly to the city that I had last heard that he was in and go find him?
Yeah, that was the idea. And I kind of like, you got to be careful sometimes what you ask for. And then I just had all this pressure on me, like, okay, now what am I going to do? Now they're relying on me. By the way, it's $1 million contract for Terry Bradshaw.
Wow.
So he's just under $1 million for 10 shows. So his speaker fee was around 120 grand per presentation, which is generally, coming in the limousine, getting out. Talk about, when you've hit that level where you're spending an hour and making 120 grand, that was his fee at the time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot riding on this one.
So you're like, I could buy a house or we could pay for Terry Bradshaw to speak for an hour. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
So I go Google, I start searching him, and I find out that he has a right-hand person that is his agent. And so I reached out to his right-hand person and I said, hey, I would like to come out and meet with Terry. We have a 7-figure contract we want to put in front of Terry for the next 12 months. And so the agent agreed to have me come out and to fly into Pittsburgh. And he happened to be just at a really big hotel doing business all day. So he's like, you can go into this big hotel, you can land there, and you have 1 hour and 1 hour only with Terry Bradshaw to pitch him on this idea.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he just dropped you off at the front of the hotel. I'm hoping that he told Terry you were coming, right?
Yes, so
Okay.
I had an appointment on the schedule, fortunately, but I literally get in the plane and I fly to Pittsburgh, and I get out and I go in this massive hotel and I find out which ballroom, which little boardroom he is. He's in a boardroom off the side. And for whatever reason, this hotel was so busy. There was hundreds of people in the lobby. So I kind of cut through the people in the lobby. I walk down to the door and I open the door, and guess who's standing there?
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
My life,
gosh.
my boy, childhood hero, Terry Bradshaw, standing there. And I think I probably just froze for a minute, right? And as I was walking in there, I was like, you know what? How am I going to present to him? What's it going to be? How am I going to convince him that he needs to fly 10 different cities across the U.S., which is a massive pain, and get on these stages? And how can I do this? And I came to the conclusion, what came to my mind was Stephen R. Covey, and he says, first seek to understand and then to be understood, right? And I thought about that, and I said, I know everything about this guy's career, so I want to first seek to understand. So the first thing I did is I sat down and said, listen, I had Terry Bradshaw pajamas, and I followed your career. I know this and that and this, and I would love to know more about your brand. Now you're getting into movies. What's next for you? That was the question, right?
Yeah.
And then his answer was a good 30 minutes. And it was all movies. I got a new book coming out. And as he's speaking, he wants to promote that book. He wants to become a bestseller in a hurry. Right. And I'm thinking, okay, that would be a good. So he starts really showing me the ecosystem of Terry Bradshaw. And I understood right then, this is how we can fit into his universe, not as in I'm going to pitch him and tell him to come over to my universe. Hey, Terry, come over here. This is what I want you to do. I want to go to his. And I said, so the close was, hey, Terry, we can support you here, here, here. We can make you a bestseller. We can buy your books over the counter at our events. And I went through the whole thing, how this whole thing fits into his ecosystem and his world. And we left there, and he had signed a contract. He signed it on the spot, the 10-city tour. And then he's like, hey, let's go over and grab some food. And so we go walking out of this room, and then we go, he cuts through those people. They're all Pittsburgh people, right? And I still remember, like, literally one head turn, and then like probably a few hundred heads turn, and it was just him and I standing there. And then all of a sudden he gets rushed, and I feel like I'm the bodyguard at this point. If you look at me, I'm not much of a bodyguard looking person, and I'm getting crushed. And all these people are trying to get in to say hi to Terry. And I still remember that impression in my mind, the power of influence. And I said, from this moment on, I want to promote people who have influence, and I can make millions of dollars behind this. And so we did this tour, and it created millions of dollars in sales. And what you talk about is real. Like, when you talk about the difference between a highly skilled salesperson on that stage and someone who's not, It makes all the difference if you're putting up that money to put the people in the room, to have a highly skilled person who's going to bring in that revenue for you. So that's my early kind of path to the stages.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh. And Sean, you've done that with not just one person, not with just Terry Bradshaw, but you also did with the shark from Shark Tank. I'm just like, how many more stories does Sean have of
right.
turning an hour meeting into a 7-figure, 8-figure contract because of this single principle, which you embody so beautifully. And every time I'm in your airspace, digitally or physically, you just exude this energy of how can I support you? And how can I, and here's the thing, friends, you all heard about this law of reciprocity. Raise your hand if you've heard about the law of reciprocity, right? It's a long way of saying karma. What goes around comes around. But what's funny about the law of reciprocity, if you're behaving in a way with the undercurrent of trying to invoke the law of reciprocity, it doesn't work. The law of reciprocity has to give without intention of request. It just gives, and it just gives, and it just gives. And what makes Sean's approach so singular and yet so powerful is, I want to give you this opportunity. Terry, I want to not only help you get your book, but how about we put you in 10 cities and pay you $1 million to promote your book? How's that sound? And you can only do it by using the power of listening. And that superpower from stage especially takes all the stage fright away. It takes all of the nerves away, and it allows you to show up for your audience. And this is the foundation upon which successful businesses are built. So Sean, take us through what happened next. This was your early beginnings. Take us from there to here.
So I really kind of built my career based on those stages. So we went on this run and made thousands of stages from there. So we did Tony Robbins in the U.S. We did Tom Brady. We promoted him in Boston, and there was 10,000 people at that event. We did international events. We really kind of took this thing and ran with it. And then you kind of fast forward in this thing called COVID, we've all gone through, and no one's doing live events whatsoever. And we really have to pivot in our business. And so we're, as entrepreneurs, you're sitting around, you're like, hey, how do we solve problems? What are the problems out there? And I'm a sales and marketing guy, but we understood that small business owners don't get serviced in any kind of financial in anywhere. It's because they're not big enough. So there's a Big Four accounting firm. A small business owner goes into that firm. They say, hey, come back when you can add another couple of zeros to that top line, right? And then we can help you. How bad is that? 67% of Americans are small business owners. 67% of companies are small business. It's the fabric of America, and there's really no good services for them, right? So we came up with this idea of creating a tax service company. And we had a similar thing. We were around a boardroom, and we're like, okay, who's a household name? And we're like, hey, we'll do tax filing. We will do tax planning, because no one does that. Everyone, business owner, wants to focus on your product, your sales, everything else, but no one really wants to focus on that until tax time, which is not a good strategy. And then we're like, we do bookkeeping. So those are three simple things. And then we said, hey, who's someone who is a brand that we can market? We are a big believer in the great way to scale is scaling people who have millions of eyeballs on their brand, and you attach your brand to that brand, and you can scale really fast, many millions, right? So we came with the idea of Tax Hive as the name of the business 4.5 years ago. And we said, who do we think is a good person to pitch? And it was the same exact practice. And that person was Kevin O'Leary.
Oh, man.
The Shark Tank guy.
The Shark Tank guy. And here's what I love. I mean, we both run hives, which is really cool. I knew it as soon as I walked into that building. I'm like, oh, there's something cool about this. This is the Mastery Hive that we're in right now. We got the Tax Hive over here. There might just be a JV in our future. But when you met Kevin O'Leary, it was the same thing. And I don't even think you were given an hour with him. I think it was just a few minutes. No, it was
30 minutes on that one.
Yeah. But you turned it into what, 2 hours?
2 hour conversation and cancel. He has the tightest schedule. You ever feel like a slacker around someone? I feel like a slacker around Kevin. I mean, literally. So he canceled his plans at 30 minutes and he took 2 hours with me.
Oh man. And by the time you're done, you set off on a journey. And how long were you side by side with Kevin?
So we also promoted Kevin on stages for many years. He actually ran for Prime Minister of Canada. So we helped do fundraising in Canada. All the polls said he would beat Trudeau, and he was from Quebec originally, and he has to go through his home province, and they didn't like that he didn't speak French. So he didn't make it past his province to become Prime Minister. Kevin O'Leary would be Prime Minister. So we helped him do a whole campaign around that. And so we got to know him really, really well. And so then reaching out to him on the tax side, I was friends with him now. And I shot him a text, and then we went down and pitched him on that one in Arizona on this idea of tax hike.
Well, and this is why, friends, I told you that Sean is my secret weapon in business, because he is the great connector. If there's a way that you can ever get in the room where Sean is, if you know that he's speaking at an event, if you can ever connect with him about even just using the space at the Tax Hive building. Sean has been so generous to host a plethora of events down at the Tax Hive. I've been to ones where Sean is speaking, Dan Clark is speaking, Jeff Griffin is speaking. I've got students that host events there. Trust me, you want to be a part of this guy's universe, and you want to be showing up in such a way that Sean speaks your name in rooms that you're not in. And you want to do this for so many wonderful people and be the kind of person that can be recommended. And here's the thing, you are all the kind of people, I know that because you're in my universe, right? But the other portion of that you need is clarity of message. If we don't know why we should be talking about you might be the coolest person in the world, but if you're not clear on your message, then we don't know who we should introduce you to. Raise your hand if this is making sense. All right, good, perfect. All right, Sean, so I really want to talk about a little bit on the back end of starting your entrepreneur journey. And friends, as you have questions, throw those in the chat, because this is live and open Q&A. So when we're starting our strategy for growing our business, like in my speaker journey, there's so many things to create revenue, and there's so many expenses that come with that. There's ads, there's marketing. Where do you think entrepreneurs should invest their first dollars?
That is such a good question. And by the way, I need your chart earlier that I saw. I'm still thinking about all those steps. I need to learn more from you.
Well, I'll have Richard repost it. This is my brainchild.
It's a great question. I think the greatest way to scale, especially out of the gates, is building relationships. And really building relationships. And I think what you teach is so important and so needed for how you show up. Like, I've seen you personally show up to rooms that we've done together, and you shine when you walk through that door, which shows I've seen a lot of people. I've tried to deep dive on what this looks like, and I've seen a lot of people show up and they walk into the room and it's kind of awkward and it's tough. And so they're uncomfortable a little bit. So then they look at their phones, and we've all done it. You kind of look at your phone and you don't want to go to the center of the room. You want to go to the corner of the room, and you want to look down at this. And do you want to talk to me right now? Right. And it's so important. You smile, you walk in there, you just have that confidence, and you stand in the middle of that freaking room like you are running the show. You go right up to the promoter, introduce yourself, and say, hey, I run this business. I speak on stages, and this is my topic, and this is my passion. Do you have anyone in here you think I should talk to? And then if that person introduces you to someone, it is like so much warmer than going up to someone individually, which works too. But then you follow up. And so I think the greatest way to scale is literally building relationships.
That's so true. And those personal introductions mean the world. When Dan Clark introduces me to someone, I've got a Dan Clark endorsement. When Sean introduces me to someone, I've got a Sean Finnegan endorsement. If you guys remember, there's this moment in one of my favorite movies of all time. Has anyone seen The Greatest Showman? Raise your hand if you haven't. If you haven't seen it in the last 48 hours, I got goosebumps, guys. Go watch it again. Or at least listen to the music. I love this movie so much, I named my company after the theme song of this movie. My company is This Is Me, LLC. This is how much I love this movie. But what you're talking about happens in this movie. And it's this moment where Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron are in front of the Queen, right? They're in the Queen's court. And Hugh Jackman takes Zac Efron by the shoulder, and he said, you're going to introduce me to Jenny Lind. And he says, I don't know Jenny Lind. He's like, I don't either. That doesn't matter. You're going to introduce me. And immediately If someone endorses you and makes an introduction, now you've got their attention. Why are we in our airspace? And the next thing out of your mouth, which is exactly why the first step is define your expertise. And in that module of training, friends, we talk about your value statement. The first thing that comes out of your mouth when you meet someone is your verbal business card. Instead of these networking events where you're collecting business cards or maybe exchanging phone numbers and all of that gets lost or thrown away, this is your only chance to make a first impression, and it will be what will last. And you might be, hey, I have your face on my pajamas. Trust me, it's memorable, right? But it's also, how can I show up and serve for you? This is what I do, and these are the people I help. Tell me about you. So this is so powerful what you're saying right here, Sean, and especially in being in those rooms. And friends, if you're looking at hosting events, I'm going to tell you this right now, go to as many events as possible. Go to Eventbrite, go scroll through, find audiences that are similar to yours and get in those rooms. This is how I interfaced with Sean. This is how we connected. This was an incredible experience. Okay, so Sean, let's get into a little bit of...
So I got a Marianne story.
Oh!
If that's okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So just how I met Marianne, I went to an event. It was a packed house, a few hundred people, and I'm a pretty tough critic. That's why I think you should have a science behind what you do up there, as opposed to wing it. I think it's systematic approach. And so I'm a really tough critic when it comes to speakers. And so I'm sitting there watching this event, and I'm there to watch a friend of mine and yours. And, it was like subpar. 2 or 3 speakers in a row, and I'm bored of tears, and I'm just kind of sitting through this. And I'm like, oh, and I'm making a list of all the things I don't like. And I remember right after this really weak call to action from our friend, on stage, and then he leaves off the stage, and then Marianne comes down, and it is power. And I turned to the person I'm with, I'm like, who is that? Because you came out with such authority and confidence, and your call to action was such a work of art. I'm like, because that's one of the things I've been preaching, is like, hey, you have a rare opportunity to be on that stage, which is hallowed ground. And you're not going to take advantage of that opportunity to get people. You feel so passionate about what you all do. Send them down that path with everything you've got. And I love people who are passionate about that. So she does a call to action. And it's like everyone pulls their phone out and everyone goes for it. And I'm looking around and going, okay, I need to know who this person is. And then I actually didn't connect with you that day. I had a bolt, and then I ran into you again, and I was like, I know exactly who you are because I remember your face, I remember your energy and your excitement, and that's what you actually practice what you preach. So I do my own private stage event, right, called the X Room, and guess who emceed the last event? I had 150 people show up at my event, and Marianne was up there. I had her MC that and hold all these type A kind of personalities, trying to corral them into this event, and she absolutely crushed that.
I wanted to hear your feedback on that because you warned me and you were right. This was a room of like
herding.
Oh yeah, it was like a room of bulls that are like all trying to fly down. Amazing people, but they're all doing business together and just networking, and you had to take the collective energy of the room of these alphas in every industry and be like, all right, sit down.
Yes, amen.
So that was an incredible opportunity. So I've got some questions coming in, but before I get to that, I want to talk about a little bit about asset protection, because the last thing, well, let me frame it up this way. How many of you have worked up a W-2 before? You've worked for somebody else, by raise of hand, right? And if you're still there, there's no shame in that whatsoever, but you're also here because the entrepreneurial bug has bit you, and maybe you're on your transition on the way out and growing up this own business to eclipse and threaten the 9-to-5, which is amazing. And we need entrepreneurs like that. Those of you that have taken home a W-2 check, tell me by thumbs up or thumbs down, if you received the same amount or even less through your own company, did it feel better? Thumbs up if it did, thumbs down if it didn't. Even if it was a less, smaller check, fewer dollars made, did it feel better because you made it? I agree with you. I could not agree more. There is so much power in saying, look at what I'm capable of. This is why early immigrants to the United States took that first dollar that they made, framed it and stuck it on their wall and said, look at what I can do. Look at what I'm capable of creating. And so protecting those assets, those things that you're creating, not only against, litigation and all that, our mutual friend can teach a lot about how to protect those dollars and different assets and things like that. But this ugly word of, and I'm judging it, this ugly word of taxes that, I remember writing a $75,000 check to the IRS, and I would, it was like, I wonder if this is what disemboweling feels like, because it feels very similar. It just
Amen.
was sickening to me. And the reason for that is I like to get an ROI. Now, really, that $75,000 kept me out of jail, but I'm sure there's better ways to do that, right? So talk to us a little bit, especially in the beginnings of this journey, about how can we use our dollars in a way that benefits our business? Are there write-offs that we might be missing as entrepreneurs? What can we do?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So, so you just hit on it. So especially if you've gone from a W-2 and then you venture out, it's like the Indiana Jones, piece where he takes that leap of faith and there's the invisible, walkway that he steps out into, the leap of faith, and you step out onto that and you become an entrepreneur, right? It's a scary thing and it's a beautiful thing, but no one sits you down when you go from a W-2 to your business owner and says, hey, by the way, when you were a W-2, you could take up to 10 deductions, and most people take 2 or 3. But now you're a business owner. There's a whole treasure chest sitting there, and you could take up to 1,400 deductions as a business owner. The whole code was written for business owners. And you should take this and you should take that. No one does that. Same with this business structure. Hey, this is exactly, set up your LLC, but you can also do an S corp election, which will save you, personal income, like your income tax on the self-employment, right? So there's 3 things that we see. We onboard about 60 or 70 new clients a week at TaxHive, and there's 3 problems that we run into every day, every hour. I hope this provides value. Number 1 is just the basic deductions that we all know. If I had everyone tell us what are the basic deductions that which is the home deduction, the car, the very basic ones, what we find is most entrepreneurs don't even take those fully. There's more ways to take that square footage that you just don't know about. So the basic ones are super important, and you're probably not taking enough of those ones. So that's 1. Number 2 is there's 1,400 deductions, and you probably qualify for 15 to 20. Who knows how many it is? And so I'll give you one example of a deduction that you may or may not have heard of. So at one point in my life, I lived in a place called Augusta, Georgia. If there's any golfers on the screen, give me a thumbs up. Anyone? Any golfers?
I feel like, Sean, I need to learn because there's so much business that happens on the golf course.
Yes, there is. Okay, so I really don't love golf now because I love to bike and chase my 3 girls around. They're older girls now, though. But so it's really hallowed ground in a place called Augusta, Georgia. And the reason why it's hallowed ground on that golf course is they do Augusta National Tournament every year. So this is a 2-week tournament. It is a master tournament, right? It's the Masters. So 250,000 people ascend on Augusta, Georgia, which is not a big place, onto this town. So if you are a Southern Georgian and you live in that market, that is vacation time. You want nothing to do with all these people coming from all around the world. So what they do for many years is they rent out their house. So I went to Augusta, and this isn't recommended, but I snuck out onto the course at night. I'm surprised I didn't get tased, okay? And I just wanted to see it up close. I snuck out there, and I just touched that incredible velvet grass, and I looked around. But if you look around on that spot, you see that there's absolutely no shiny hotels anywhere. You're standing there, and all you see is neighborhoods. So these people that come in, 250,000 of them have to stay somewhere. So these Georgians rented out their house for 2 weeks. And many of times they charge $1,000 to $5,000 a night for these houses. So let's say that they brought in $30,000 in revenue in 2 weeks. They had to spend 10 of that on taxes, income tax. So they got so sick of that, they hired a lobbyist. The lobbyist went in front of Congress and they carved out what's the nickname is called the Augusta Rule. And what that meant is now all 50 states could do this, and any business owner could take advantage of this 2 weeks a year, which means if you're a business owner, you can rent out your home residence for up to 2 weeks to your business tax-free, and you charge yourself the rent for 2 weeks. And that rent is completely goes to your bottom line as your business. It's called the Augusta Rule. So that's one that you could possibly qualify for, but there's many, many, many other ones that we just don't know about because no one really sits us down and says, here's what it is. Here's what it's all about. It's all that.
I want to interject this real quick, Sean, if I can, because we talked about this briefly on the podcast yesterday, and some of you might be wondering what I wondered is my tax guy going to catch this, right? Is my CPA going to catch this? Listen to me right now. Just because you have a driver's license doesn't mean you're a good driver. Just because you have a CPA doesn't mean they're going to catch everything. It doesn't mean they know about these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of opportunities for write-offs. So you might have outgrown your CPA. You might be outgrowing TurboTax. Chances are, if you're an entrepreneur, you have already outgrown it and you don't know that. So listen to what Sean is saying right now. Okay, Sean, give us number 3.
So number 3. So number 2, there's many more out there you're probably not taking advantage of, for sure. And number 3 is business structure. So you hit it, Marianne. Many times you have these assets and people just have it in their own name, or they put their assets in an LLC. And guess what? There's only very limited protection. So everything could get sued in that LLC and you could lose it all. You need trust set up. You need all the wills. You need all your estate planning done. It's a nutty world out there. And there's more lawyers in law school right now than practicing law, to give you an idea. So they're coming in droves, I promise you. So it's just a wild world. So you just got to protect yourself. And many of you are building your kingdom. Make sure that moat is up there first so you have yourself protected. Don't wait until the kingdom comes and then all of a sudden you want to protect yourself. So those are the top 3.
I love it. Guys, give Sean a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. I know that we had a question come in from Alton. Alton, would you go ahead and just unmute yourself and ask your question for Sean?
Absolutely. Am I coming through?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
Good deal. Good evening, everyone. So here's my question for you, Sean. As you were talking about your story with Terry and then some of the other people who you've worked with over the years, one of the things that it highlights is that you do a very good job of walking the line between agenda and true mutual benefit. How do you find that line? Because clearly you are selecting candidates who you feel would be ideal for what you need, but then how do you find that bridge to make sure that you're creating that scenario?
Yeah. So say you mean with your personal agenda and then their mutual benefit.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think that's an excellent question. So if you have a certain criteria, something, your agenda is what you called, and you're like, because I'll give you another example of this pitch thing. So I went to Boston to Harvard with Kevin O'Leary. He speaks to their graduates. So he speaks to their doctorate degrees for free. He donates his time to Harvard. So it's me and his right-hand person, Nancy, and we're ready to he's going up there with his laptop, and it's an hour before the presentation. This is probably never happened to anyone, right, Marianne? But he pops open his laptop, and the laptop literally poof, blows up, right? And now your technology's down. So he's like, oh, we got to get in the car. So him and I jumped in the car, and we drove to the mall. And you imagine, like, I get out of the car, and we're going into the computer store. And I counted between the parking lot and the computer store, when they stopped and saw him, they pitched him maybe 20, 30 times. And it sounded all their agenda. Every pitch was, hey, Kevin, I got this for you. You should do this, Kevin. Literally 20 or 30 times. And he's just trying to just be cordial and nice, trying to get his laptop fixed. And I'm like, none of these people have any shot because all they're focused on is that narrow mind of just their own agenda and not what they're actually trying to do. It's like none of them came up to him and said, hey, Kevin, tell me what you're, while the laptop's in, tell me what you're trying to accomplish right now. Tell me what you're working on. What is a way that I can provide benefit and value to you? And if you solve that problem for him, you're probably going to get a lot more deals than trying to go lead with your agenda.
Beautiful
Good deal.
question.
Thank you
Alan.
very much.
Thank you.
That was a
Thank
great
you.
question, man. Very, very intelligent.
Well, and I kind of want to tack on a follow-up to that, if I may be so bold. Have you ever experienced, Sean, when trying to discover someone's pain point or some struggle that they're working on or some goal, have you ever been listening and thought, I don't have any expertise in anything that you want, and you're just still digging for something that you can do? Have you ever run into that?
Yeah, I think I definitely do. I mean, I do that right now. I'm a networker. I go to things all the time, and I get on probably the hourly, someone saying, "Hey, do you have anyone who does this?" So I'm trying to. There's a powerful book that you believe in too, and I believe in. It's the Who Not How, and I'm trying to get a who for just about everything I can that it fits and that are my friends would need. That's what my mission is right now.
Oh,
So if I know, Alton does a certain thing and he's really good at this certain thing, he's going to be my who for that thing. And so if someone comes to me, I'm trying to broaden that. And I'm not exactly where I need to be, but I've definitely made progress on that list of who's.
I love that Rolodex that you've got going. I found a company just recently that you might really like. It's called Pitch 59. And
I love them.
Have you met those guys?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so they're putting this new feature in their app that will allow you to categorize people by their expertise within the app.
That's cool.
Oh, I'm stoked about it. I was like, I wonder, Sean probably designed this, but
I actually was on their social media. I did a video for them on Instagram.
oh, so cool. Oh, we just did a podcast with them.
I love their stuff. Yeah, they're a who for me that wants digital cards, and it's a quick way, easy way to engage with people and get intros.
Yeah, that I'm like, duh, Pitch 59. I met them in the X
Yeah,
room.
you probably met in my building. Yeah.
You introduced us. Oh
right.
My
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, we have a couple more questions, right, Richard? One that came through.
Yeah. Christy wants to know: does TaxHive help set up trusts?
Okay, Christy, if you want to elaborate on that, you're welcome to unmute and ask. But that was the question: does TaxHive help with trust?
Hey, so I have a couple. I have an LLC that's my vocal an LLC, but I also have an LLC for real estate, to do real estate investments and stuff. And we don't have a trust, and so I'm just curious about is that something TaxHive does, or where do you go to do that?
Great to see you, by the way. Looking forward to your teen event on Saturday.
So excited! I'm so grateful for you.
It's so awesome. I just love your energy up there too.
If you ever know anyone between 8 and 80 who wants to sing, I'm there to teach them.
Yeah. So you're my who for the sing. See how you just added to my list right just now?
There you go.
Right? The answer is so if you go to TaxHive's building, I think some of you have been, but the upper floor, we have 50, 60 people up there. They do the TaxHive business. And then on the main floor, bottom right, filled with a bunch of quiet lawyers and paralegals there. So that's a company called API Law, and they do all things for really good prices. So they try to go as cheap as possible, the highest touch, highest service there is. And they do all of those trusts and wills and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Shoot me a text, Christy, and I'll intro you to someone.
That would be great, because we're probably in a place that sounds like our LLCs need to be in a trust or something. So I need to learn more about
Everyone should have a trust. Everyone.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think we hit them all up in the chat. But if you have a question right now, go ahead and raise your digital hand, and we can get you unmuted so you can ask Sean any of these questions. By the way, Sean, while the questions are coming in, how do people get a hold of you? How do people find you and connect with you?
Okay, so I am going to do something here, if it's cool with you, Marianne.
Please, by all means.
Just if you want to get my phone number down, this is my number. I don't have anyone check it. So
you go on this, guys. Take note. The whole internet.
Give me like a day. So my mission this year is to double my network. So get my number down and then shoot me a text with your name, and I'll send you a free blueprint, which is it's a technology piece that we built. We spent a lot to build it, and it's basically asks you 17 questions, because you might be in the position like, hey, do I really need help right now? It'll ask you 17 questions. It takes about 3 minutes to fill it out, and then it sends just an email to your email of the report. And we're finding even 10,000 in those kind of quick little surveys we do. So if you want to get my number down, it's 801. And I want everyone to text. So Marianne's the ultimate call to action person. So just grab my number, 801-318-5303, 801-318-5303. And it's SHAWN-FINNEGAN. So if you shoot me a text, I'll send you Kevin's book, and I'll send you that blueprint by tomorrow.
Guys, you want to take advantage of that. I'm telling you, I didn't know Sean was going to give his phone number away, but that's a phone number you want in your Rolodex. I promise you. So take that down.
I want to be your who for taxes, so I'm going to be your who, right?
Yeah. John, I hope you're getting notifications in your phone right now of texts coming in,
Hope
guys.
so.
I
Yeah.
want you to text this number. Just send them your name, and Sean will be able to keep track of everything. Is it just their name that you want, or is there any keywords or anything, or is it just their name?
No, just go ahead and do your name, and I'll check this like the next probably I'll get blitzed for the next 30 minutes or so, and then I'll send it by tomorrow night.
Okay, awesome. Do that so that
Cool.
Sean can get all of that pushed out. We have 2 questions, one from Paris and one from Derek. Paris, why don't you go ahead and go first, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Sean, I love everything you've said, and I love to have the networking. I like to be the connector guy that kind of says, hey, I got somebody that knows what you need and can help you get there. That's something I love and really appreciate in others. I have a relationship right now with another company called ProTax. They do AI. They review the tax code with AI and to determine what your company might need. And I have a referral affiliate program link with them. And so whenever I have come across somebody, I've been using them. But if you're doing the same thing, I would rather have it be you, if that makes sense, or somebody that like you, who I could say, hey, I know this guy. He's actually, really well connected, and he can do some great things. So, one, are you familiar? I don't know if you're familiar with ProTax or if you've heard of them before, but if that,
I have, yeah.
Is that kind of the same thing? Is that what you do?
Well, it's actually what Marianne said at the beginning. There's no competitor. So like one of my closest partnerships is a company called B10. They do high-end clients. We thought we were competitors for years. We were best friends, but we were competitors. And we ended up finding out, hey, we're the best potential referring partners. So yeah, I've heard of them, and I would love to create a relationship. And we have a similar affiliate program if you're a thought leader and have a group, your own community, and we have that as well.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Honor to meet you, Paris.
You bet. Thanks.
Paris, this was one of the people I had in mind that I wanted to put you in the same room with, so I'm really glad that you guys got connected.
Let's do that.
All right. Derek, you have your hand
text.
up.
Hey, great to meet you. I'll definitely text and, get in touch and set up some time if that's possible. But, my question, it kind of stems around how are you finding and kind of nurturing your referral partners, and what kind of actions and follow-up do you take, right?
I love that. I love that question. This is a weakness I've seen in networking. I think most people are networkers, right? On here, Marianne, a lot of go to live events and you make engagement. What I'm most surprised with that there's very little follow-up from that. So let's say you meet someone that is a perfect fit. They have a great stage and you're like, this is the person I need to talk to that I've been looking for. Most people will make that connection. And then you'll think in your mind, I'm gonna follow up with them after. And things just fall by the wayside. It's almost like, it's like high school. You meet someone, you're like, oh, I met you at that thing, but you've lost the opportunity. So while you're there, my go-to is, hey, Marianne. And I believe I said this when I saw you. I was like, we need to connect. I saw you on that stage. I've been meaning to talk to you. We have so much that we're doing that would be a good fit for what you're doing and vice versa. How does your Tuesday at 2:00 work? And I set appointments, not with everyone, but only when you find the right ones. You don't want to go set up 50 appointments that don't make sense. But if there's like 2 or 3 from one meeting, I can promise you'll make riches. but it requires you going up and actually pulling out your phone and saying, I always say the same thing. Hey, if I leave these 2 doors, I know I'm not going to be the greatest at setting this up and chasing you down. So I'd like to just do it now. Let's just grab a time. How does your Tuesday at 2 o'clock work? Or how's your Wednesday for lunch over here at my office, right? And I always, the riches are made in the follow through. And as far as the affiliates go, I have a systematic approach for constant. You have to constantly stay in front of those affiliates. I have a system. Some are affiliates are literally every other day. Some are weekly, some are monthly. And so I have a system and I have a outreach as far as when I've built my list. I have 150 affiliates. And so I had each one of those falls in different buckets. Riches are made in those follow up.
Riches are in the niches, as they say. Thank you so much, Derek. Okay, we have Talia with her hands up. Tell us what you got, girl. What's up?
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks. Liz had me on the call. Sean, thank you for sharing so much awesome information. Love everything you were sharing about the taxes. And Marianne, I just wanted to say hello. I had no idea that it was you from like 10 years ago when your hair was short and blonde and you look fabulous.
Oh, good to see
and
you again.
I can tell your energy, you too. And I just am so grateful to be on the call with just amazing people that are doing this, and just wanted to say hello. And I am just so happy for you. You're amazing. And I'm excited to get connected with more people. Yeah. So thank you, Liz, for inviting me. And yes, Sean, I got to meet you once in a room with Dan Rawls also. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, good dude.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks so much.
Oh, so good to see you. What a beautiful flashback. Did you have a question for Sean, or do we just get to say hi?
Gosh, I am, just trying to build my own speaking business and working on that. I love the idea with the connections, and I was trying to write down that. Was it Augusta rule? I was
Augusta rule, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear more of those kind of write-offs, and I think I've outgrown my guy for sure. So that would be fantastic. If you have any other quick, tips with taxes, maybe that would be my question. I don't know.
Yeah. The fact is there's so many, and what I've found is the average person could probably do 10 deductions, taking 2 deductions, even a small business person. So we can uncover. There's so many incredible that you can. Another crazy one is, have you ever heard of the Bamberger family? The Bamberger family actually created Lagoon.
Oh.
So I'm a collector of documents. These are historical pieces of information, right? So I bought the journals of the Bambergers. It's 4 boxes of them documenting their journey of creating like what we all love, the roller coaster, the wooden one and all that stuff. They have it all in their journals. And I bought it. I think I bought it for like $25,000, and I donated it to the University of Utah 3 or 4 years ago. I held on to it for years, and I donated it to the University of Utah for like, their appraisal was $350,000. Pretty wild. And so there's groups that can help you preserve documents. That's just one example. Probably not everyone, but unless you're into collecting crazy journals and stuff. But that's also a thing. You can also donate things. You can donate artifacts in your home and antiques to places that need them. So you solve a big problem for the University of Utah. Now multiple people can see those documents. It's amazing. And then I got a $350,000 write-off that I got to take over a 10-year schedule. So,
wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
The art world is big into that as well. There's a lot of tax savings that can be done with art. I have a friend that is an art collector and a preservationist. I don't know if that's really a word, but it gives you paints the picture. See what I did there? And that's a big savings for a lot of people. Real quick, Alton, you had one last question for us.
Yeah, so one more thing for Sean before you go. I got to know, what's the fire that you're burning on right now? What's the thing that is pulling you to the next destination?
Alton, good question. So I'm a lover of sweet things. All right. So I love crumble cookies. I think it's the goat of all cookies. And mainly the reason why I think it's the goat of all cookies, because I'm a franchisee owner of Crumble Cookies. So me and 3 other people have 10 crumbles open in the Carolinas. So I absolutely love that business. And there's another one, as I think a lot of you are local, but Swig is another one. And so we have 500 employees in the North South Carolina market on our crumble stores. These are employees 16. Imagine the madness of that, but 16 to 22-year-old employees, part-timers running these crumbles. And we have incredible staff and like leadership teams. So we're like, hey, why don't we leverage this asset we have and create another business there? And so we just purchased the Swig franchise in North and South Carolina. So we're going to open up 20 Swigs over the next 5 years in North and South Carolina. So I wake up every day and I think about sodas and I think about cookies. And I mean, it's really motivating for me right now. I mean, I'm really excited about it. That's the passion and the energy you get from being a business owner. This is the land of, it truly is a land of opportunity. I want all of you to go out and crush it in your business because it's a hard time and but not for you. I think you all can go out and crush it and give it your all and make tons of money. I think there's nothing better.
Awesome.
Congrats and thank you.
Thank you so much. Sean, it sounds like we have a podcast part 2 that we should do and talk about all these back end things. Guys, throw it in the chat. Throw a 1 in the chat if this was super valuable for you tonight. I want to know what you're finding value in because I'm here to serve you and I'm here to help propel your mission and purpose forward. I see your 1s coming through. This is incredible. You know, we are wrapped up on time, but I want to give you one other really cool thing. Can I give you a really cool thing? All right. So Sean talked about this a second ago with affiliate marketing. You all got an email from me this week. Now, it was an email I didn't know was going to go out when we pushed the toggle switch, so I sent an email right after clarifying what it was. But those of you that are in my universe as part of the Mastery Hive, you are all affiliates now, which means everyone that you send into the Mastery Hive, you can earn some residual income for as long as they're in the Mastery Hive, which is really exciting for me because I love to talk about products that I love with people that I love. So if that's something that you want to take advantage of, you're all automatically included. The links should be in your email already from just a few days ago. And Richard and I, we decided to run a contest. We want to throw $150, or in other words, a free month of the Mastery Hive for you if you are the top referrer for the next 30 days. So we'll send more information out about that via email, right, Rich? Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. If you are not yet a member of the Mastery Hive, I think everywhere except Zoom, there's a link, and Richard can throw, he's so on top of it. Okay, so in the chat, Richard just threw the chat. If you liked what you saw tonight and you know that you want to deliver your message on stage and you want to grow your business through the power of your voice, then this is the group to be in. We get to meet every single week. There are some regulars in here and we've watched them take the stage, start events, start YouTube channels, grow their businesses, and more important than the business growth, more important than the revenue, and more important than everything we've talked about tonight is this. And I want to connect with you from my heart in this. Many of you don't know this, but if you saw my socials over the last couple weeks, you know that I was a pallbearer for my brother. That's a calling that I took great honor in, but that I never wished for. And as I laid my brother to rest, thoughts just kept tumbling in my mind. Like Keaton Hoskins, I think a lot about death. And not in a necessarily macabre fashion, but I think about, did I go to bed today having laid it all out on the table? Did I give everything that I possibly could that this world was thirsty for, or did I hold back? And this is why my heart beats, primarily to raise my children, but also to help people on this planet, the people like you who have good hearts, who are out there trying to save lives through healing minds, through healing hearts, for offering hope, for offering reassurance. Your message deserves the stage because there are people that you may never meet who will be positively influenced by the power of your voice, and that is why the Mastery Hive exists. And if you know that your calling is in your heart, then you are qualified, and I want you here. So if you're not a part of this community, get in there. The link is in the chat. It's also, if you're not on Zoom, it's posted on the top of your screen. Screen grab it. Get in this call tonight. There's never a better time than now to start taking the next step in your journey. Friends, Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of my universe. Let's give another huge round of applause for Sean for joining us tonight, especially last minute. You are all incredible. This replay will be available for you. I hope you rewatch it. Of course, we'll be cutting snippets out, but God bless you. Take good care, my friends. Have a beautiful evening.
Okay, I'm going to be closing the live as well. 1 second.
Take care, friends. Good to see you. We'll see you on the next Mastery Hive call. We meet Wednesday nights. Next week is actually the speaker competition. I should have announced that in this room.
Oh, well.